Hello everyone, I'm going to be making a series of videos of tutorials for models that can be folded from 15 centimeter paper and folded within 15 minutes. So they're kind of easy-ish models that are still fun and challenging and interesting. The first model that I want to teach is this pelican with a fish from a single sheet. It contains a fish and a bird. I think this is a great example of the kind of model that we'll be doing in the next few videos. It's pretty quick to fold, but it's still quite interesting and unexpected. That you can have a fish and a bird from the same sheet of paper. And of course, this is an original design. Once you get your 15 centimeter piece of paper, we're going to go ahead and fold it in half diagonally. And we're going to basically make a grafted bird base. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. We're going to make it. The reference for this graft is not super important. And to be honest, if you don't like the size of the fish, whether it's too big or too small, you can definitely play around with the references of the graft to try to change the size of the bird. So we're going to start with this kite base, and we're going to use a reference that's about as simple as it gets. So once I have this kite base on both sides, what I'll do is I'm just going to fold the corner to that point there. So from here to there. And that's going to be the reference for our graft. So we have this kind of strip here, and it continues around the other side, so it's kind of like an L-shaped strip. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. And what's common in a lot of these grafts is to actually divide the graft in half. So not only do I fold this, but I'm actually going to fold it back. And you always want to be folding away from yourself. So I'm going to fold it like this. Okay, same thing for this one. And that's the graft. To make our lives a little bit easier later on, another fold that's nice is kind of make a fold that just goes through that point right there. Something kind of like this. Now, we always want to minimize as little pre-creasing as possible, so I'm just going to leave that there, and that's going to become our fish. Now we're going to make the bird base in this big square that we've kind of cut off. And this is going to be a bird base with the white side out, assuming you want your bird to be white. So it's just like a normal bird base. There's the diagonal folds. Now I'm going to do my lateral folds, which are going to fold up until that strip. Just like that. Alright. Once we have this, we're going to make our preliminary base. And you notice that there's this extra bit. So this is the normal preliminary base, and then there's this extra bits out here for the graft. So we can do our pre-creasing in advance. So just like a normal bird base, we're going to fold these edges to the middle. On this side it makes sense. On this one, it's going to be a little bit different. We're just going to pretend that this strip grafts do not exist. And we're just going to fold around from the same point down here and fold that line down the middle. One and two. Alright, now that we have all our pre-creasing, we can go ahead and actually make our graft. Pleat the sides and here, and when they meet, they just kind of go like that. And we'll do more things with this later on. We'll fix that up. But for now, this is kind of the strip graft. And now you can see that we're basically going to fold a bird base with what remains of the square. So start with the preliminary base. Now don't fold that part too much, because we're about to do stuff. And then if you can just go ahead and launch right into that petal fold there. If you're not super comfortable, you can always go like this. I'm assuming you folded a crane before, so that should be comfortable to you. Neat. And then over here, same thing. I'm going to do a petal fold. And we're using these 22.5 creases that we've made just now. Alright, now before we proceed, let's do a quick pre-crease. So let's fold these edges along. So we've got this like ridge in here. Let's go ahead and fold the graft along that inner physical edge. Just like that. Now what we can do is we can kind of unsink this a little bit. Just pop that corner out. So once you've popped that thing out, now we're going to fold it to the side. And you don't have to crease all the way down here, but you can if that helps you think about it. Then there's a vertical line here, and we're going to swivel this across and do similar here. You don't actually want to fold this all the way down. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to bring back this lateral crease, and where it meets, well, it doesn't matter too much what you do when it meets, but what I think is best is something like this. And so you want it to meet just at that bottom of that crease there. So I'll do the same. Something just like that. Okay, now that we've got this flap, you can kind of guess what's going to do. We're just going to squash that and, of course, petal fold it. If you prefer, you can pre-crease the petal fold. Just like that. So now we're going to go ahead and turn that over. You've got the center flap here, so we're going to fold it down, and we're going to do a big open sink. Just like that. Now that that's sunken down, what we can do is we can go ahead and turn this inside out. So it's kind of like an unsink, or however you want to think about it, but you're kind of pulling this layer inside out to expose the purple inside, and that's going to become our fish. Just like that. Let's do one quick thing with the fish before we move on. And that quick thing is we're going to kind of do a fold, something like this. You can kind of eyeball that one. Then we're going to open the layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a crease that starts at that, from where I folded it down. And I'm going to open up, like I'm intentionally being messy here. And I'm going to do the same thing. So from this side, do you sort of see the outline of the fish? We're going to come back to the fish later. For now, let's go ahead and move on to the rest of the body. So basically what we'll do next is let's fold this down here, almost like it's a frog base. And I'm going to do a spread squash. So it's kind of like turning pages of the book. I'm just going to turn the pages here, and in between, it's going to have this ridge that I'm going to squash. Turn the page. Same thing over here. Squash the ridge, spread squash. Let's fold down this back flap, which has the fish. Then we're going to inside reverse fold from this point here, and you're going to feel kind of a 45-degree ridge in there. Kind of like this. It's not going to feel super natural out here because there's a lot of layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to release one of them by allowing one of these layers to fold up. So we're going to do the same thing. So this guy here, the wing, the one with the big rectangle on the side, I'm going to inside reverse fold up at 45 degrees and then release this one. Okay, that's basically the base. Let's start by shaping the fish. First, let's start by the tail, so let's fold this point to point like that. Then we're going to make a radial pleat around one of the inner points, something kind of like this, kind of. And what that's going to do is that's going to give the fish a little bit of 3D-ness. And then we go and put it back that crease that we just made to lock it in place. Just like that. This point here is the tip of the fish. So what we're going to do is we're going to make kind of like a water bomb base around it. So we're kind of just folding some diagonals out, radiating out from that tip. And I'll do a water bomb base like this. And that kind of gives the contour of our fish. And of course, now this fish is super tall. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do some mountain folds. And if you want, you can fold them back out to make dorsal or pectoral fins. Next, now the fish is pointing upwards. We want it to point side to side. So what we can do is we can just wrangle it like this. So I'm going to make like a double rabbit ear, kind of pinch this there. And this is, remember the shaping is kind of just like Play-Doh-y. You just kind of wrangle the paper in some way. So I've now wrestled the fish to now point horizontally. I'll come back to this fish in a little bit, but that's basically how we're going to do it. Next, let's look at the beak. So we're going to do a little pleat. Something like this. And we can adjust this later on. But basically the way the head's going to work is I'm going to kind of just guess these pleats that go back. And I'm just going to make this like kind of like a Y shape like that. And again, what I just did, I did it really rough just now, but you're going to want to adjust it afterwards to make sure that it lines up with the fish properly. But that's basically the idea. And so that creates the head. The wings, one thing that you might notice is that it's kind of coming down super low here, so we can do something like this. So we're going to fold there and then inside reverse fold it. And that's actually, by inside reverse fold actually means swivel. So we can kind of swivel it around like that. And that kind of gives us a little bit more negative space. So we'll do the same thing here. So just so I get the angle right, I'm going to valley fold it. But actually this valley fold needs to become a mountain fold. And then this guy also needs to go down. Again, these are just layer ordering things that just make it feel a little bit more natural, but don't actually have much of a structural impact. There's a lot of layers in here, so if you want it to hold in place, you can kind of make this giant pinch through a bunch of layers. One thing that helps with the body is you can mountain fold behind, somewhere around here, on this top layer. And that gives you a little bit more room out of the way when you do the wings. Then when you do the wings, you can do kind of like a pleat like this. And that gives you a little tab here which you can fold away and lock. So pleat and lock back here. And I'm not using any glue, but you can if you want, and it'll definitely help. Alright, now the last thing we need to do is just put some pleats on the wing. So I'm going to start off my pleats parallel with the body, and they're slowly going to shift their angle outwards. Just like that. And of course, if you're being more careful than me, you can probably get more than this. It only takes a few to get the effect down. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So start with pleats that are parallel with the body. And slowly change the angle. Alright, that's about it for this quick tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope your birds turn out very well and well fed. If you like tutorials like this, I am now starting a YouTube membership program. I will make some tutorials, and some of them will be open and public and free, and I'll make a few extras just only for the members as a special reward for supporting the channel. So if you're interested, the details of that will be linked in the description. If you're interested in learning how to design your original origami models, especially with the 22.5 design style, I have some resources about that, and I'll also link them in the description. Alright guys, thank you so much. Let me know what kind of models you want to see in the next tutorial, and yeah, see you guys then.